What's up guys, it's Chris Majestic here with Majestex. I know it's been a little while since I've posted a video. I'm actually getting over the flu and had a whole lot of stuff going on. But a few weeks ago, I reviewed the Arlo Pro cameras and I had a lot of questions related to camera systems and just security cameras or whatever. So I do want to cover some of those questions and I want to tell you everything you need to know about security cameras. So stay tuned. So when it comes to security cameras, you have 4 different types. You have fixed indoor cameras, dome cameras, Ptz cameras, and bullet cameras. Now, fixed indoor cameras are stationary cameras that come in a variety of different styles, and these have become really popular over the past couple years. Dome cameras are what you would typically find like in a ceiling of a department store or in public places. Ptz cameras or pan tilt zoom cameras allow you to pan side to side, tilt up and down, and zoom remotely. Bullet cameras are fixed cameras that can be used indoors or outdoors. They're a little bit larger than the other options, but these are most commonly found in most security camera kits. Now, aside from camera types, I want to break these cameras down into 2 categories. One is going to be wireless and the other is going to be wired. Now, there are pros and cons to both. Now, wireless cameras have gotten really popular over the past decade or so. People use them for general surveillance, baby monitors, or just to see what's going on. Now, there are 2 different types of wireless cameras. You have traditional wireless cameras and you have wire-free wireless cameras. Now, I know that sounds kind of complicated, but it'll make more sense in a second. So traditional Wi-Fi cameras, also known as IP cameras, have a power cord that has to be plugged into the wall in order to power the camera. Now, this is true for indoor and outdoor wireless cameras. Now, this isn't such a big deal for an indoor wireless camera, but for an outdoor camera, it can be a pain considering that you have to drill a hole into your house in order to get the wire inside the house to plug it into the wall. Now, the other type of wireless camera I want to talk about are wire-free cameras. Now, these cameras are battery operated and they connect through Wi-Fi, so they have no wires. This means they can be placed just about anywhere you want. And some wire-free cameras like the Arlo, the Canary, or the Ring stick-up cam are also weather resistant, so they can also be placed outside. Now, do keep in mind that some of these wire-free cameras, like for example the Arlo camera, does have a base station that does have to be wired. So even though the cameras themselves are wireless, you do have to wire that to your router. Now, when it comes to wired cameras, you also have 2 different types of cameras as well. You have analog cameras and you have PoE cameras, which is short for power over Ethernet. Now, before I explain the differences between those cameras, I want to explain the difference between a DVR and an NVR. So a DVR, or a digital video recorder, is a box that you're going to connect your analog cameras to, and that's going to allow you to view, manage, and record from those cameras. An NVR is a network video recorder, and that's going to work with PoE cameras and IP cameras. Now, an NVR works just like a DVR, but it has a few extra features. One thing is that some of them have PoE ports in them, so if you have PoE cameras, you can plug the cameras directly into the NVR and you can record your video and manage the cameras, but you also have the ability to connect your IP cameras that you have on your network to that NVR as well. And even though they're not directly connected to it, they may be Wi-Fi, it can still manage them. Another thing to keep in mind is that NVRs support way higher camera resolutions than DVRs do. Now, analog security cameras use a technology called BNC. Now, BNC is an older video cable technology that used to be used for older surveillance equipment and video equipment, but it is capable of supporting full HD cameras. So if you have newer analog cameras, you can use BNC to support HD resolutions. Now, analog cameras are going to require you to have a DVR because that's what you're going to connect them to in order to see the video and manage the cameras. So the analog camera kits are usually going to come with really long cables because you do have to wire them throughout your house, and those cables are going to consist of a BNC connector on both ends and a power cord in order for you to power your cameras. So now the other type of wired camera is going to be a PoE camera, and as I said, that's short for power over Ethernet. So PoE cameras are going to use a single Ethernet cable for power and video, so it's a single cable solution. Now, keep in mind, in order to use a PoE camera, you do have to have a switch that supports PoE. Now, it's important to note that most consumer network switches don't normally fully support PoE, so you may have to actually go out and buy a switch that has PoE ports on it. But instead of doing that, I normally recommend that you buy an NVR that actually has PoE ports on it. And the reason why I say that is because it's gonna help you with network traffic. Instead of clogging up your network with the video data, you can just have it go into your NVR, have your NVR manage the cameras and the recordings. Now, PoE cameras definitely provide the best image quality of all the different camera types, and that's just because they're using Ethernet, so it's gonna support high bandwidth. So if you need a really high resolution camera, you can buy a PoE camera, and it's gonna allow you to do things like zoom in to get a license plate without losing image quality. Now, speaking of image quality, let's talk about resolutions, because that can be really complicated as well with these cameras. So depending on which camera you buy, it's either gonna be measured in pixels or TVL, which is short for television lines, which is an older terminology. So for example, if you see a camera that says it's 1920 TVL, that's roughly close to 1080p resolution. Another measurement that you'll see is megapixels. So you'll see some cameras say there are 2, 3, or 4 megapixels. 2.1 megapixels is roughly close to 1080p, and any camera beyond 2 megapixels is usually gonna be a PoE camera, since Ethernet can support the extra bandwidth. All right, so now that you know the difference between all these cameras, let's talk about some of the pros and cons. All right, so let's first start with Wi-Fi cameras, not to be confused with wire-free cameras. But Wi-Fi cameras, or traditional wireless cameras, are one of the most common type of cameras that you're gonna see out there, and they're usually gonna have better image quality than most wire-free cameras. Now, there are a lot of different Wi-Fi or IP cameras out there, so do keep in mind that the difficulty can range from easy to moderately difficult depending on which one you get, especially if you're gonna be putting it outside. Also, keep in mind that if you wanna buy a lot of wireless cameras, you need to be careful, because you can bog down your Wi-Fi and cripple your network. So you definitely want to be careful with that. Now, the simplest of all these camera options is definitely going to be the wire-free cameras, since they're so easy to install and set up. Now, I normally recommend these for a place where like maybe you're renting or you're in an apartment or something like that and you can't run wires, since they can easily be moved around since they're battery operated. Another thing I like about the wire-free cameras is that most of them actually have some really reasonably priced monthly storage options. So if you want to store your videos out there on the cloud, that's usually the way to go. They also come with really nice smartphone apps that walk you through the install, and they have a lot of different features, and they make it really simple for the average user. Now, some of the downsides to these wire-free cameras is that they're battery operated. So if you put it in a high traffic area and it's getting a lot of motion, that's going to drain your battery really quickly. Another thing is that the image quality isn't as good because the videos are so highly compressed, and they do this to conserve the battery life and to make the file small enough for them to store on the cloud. Now, if you do have one of these cameras in a high traffic area, you may find yourself replacing the batteries fairly often, which can definitely be a pain. Now, the one exception to this is the Ring stick-up cam, because if you want to put that outside, they do have an optional solar panel, so you wouldn't have to worry about charging at all in that case. Now, analog security cameras are definitely the least expensive if you're looking to do multiple cameras. Now, aside from running cables throughout your whole house, they are not that difficult to install. Now, configuring a DVR does take a bit more patience, but installing the cameras themselves is not really that difficult. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you do have to pay attention to the resolution of cameras you're getting, because there are a lot of kits out there that aren't HD, or they have some false claims, or they may be claiming that the cameras are clearer than they actually are. And BNC being an older technology means that some of these cameras are phasing out just because people are looking for more higher resolution cameras, and PoE is going to be the way to go. Now, that brings me to PoE cameras, which are definitely my favorite since they have the best image quality and they're really reliable. The ability to support really high resolution cameras like 5 megapixel cameras and the use of a single cable make these a great option for a business or somebody who just really wants really high video quality. Now, there are a few downsides to PoE cameras. One thing is that they are going to be a bit more difficult to install. Some of them are going to require you to make your own Ethernet cables. And of course, you're going to be required to run Ethernet cables throughout your house as well, which is something to consider. They're also going to be a lot more expensive than analog cameras and some wireless cameras. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I will post a few of my favorite camera systems in the description of this video. They're going to be Amazon affiliate links. Clicking those links does help support the Majestex YouTube channel. And if you have questions and comments, go ahead and post in the comment section. I'll respond to your comments and your questions as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.